All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to Office Hours. It is Wednesday. It is 4:30 p.m. Central Time. It is time, Andrew. How are things?
It's Wednesday afternoon, as I always say. We're more than halfway through, so things are going very well, I would say. How about yourself?
It's pretty okay. I'm a happy camper. So making the last minute prep for WP in India next week. So
Yeah,
excited to do that. Nice to visit Switzerland again. So
I'm excited to hear about it. You may have to bring me home a wee bit of chocolate, too. Might have to throw that in there.
I'll see what I can do. There are plenty of stores down the Bahnhofstrasse, down from the Zurich Central Station. You can buy chocolate in like the plates, like the massive.
Oh, there you go. Just take an extra piece of luggage with you and fill it with chocolate.
Mm-hmm. I think customs may be a little bit concerned, but all right. Well, I'll see what I can do.
All right, sounds good. How about some community news?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I've got a few things that I can share today.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to pop up my screen.
Yes. And yes, perfect.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Couple of things that I wanted to share that we came across in the community first. One thing I saw earlier today, Damien, as always, coming through with some log analytics solutions here. And today he has a blog post on creating a Lenovo devices warranty dashboard. So for those of you that are using Lenovo devices with Intune and a little bit of log analytics, which is something that we like to use for sure, this may be something that you want to check out. And in addition to this, of course, we've shared a number of posts from Damien where he's got a lot of great log analytics solutions that we recommend you check out as well. I haven't had a chance to dive into this entire post yet, but John Towles has a post that I came across around conditional access policies in Entra, and he talks about some of the common ones that you may want to configure. So a little bit out of our normal systems management sharing, but I know a lot of us are actually dealing with conditional access policies and things like that as well today. And some of these actually do dive into device compliance through Intune, as well as things like MFA for Intune enrollment, as you can see here. So please go check out John's post. Very well written, as all of his are, and a lot of great information in here that will help either get you started or just review and see if these are things that you need to take a look at in your environment. Also came across this post from a few days ago from our friend Jurgen. And it is a remediation script that you can run on demand to actually reset Windows Update on a device. Short and sweet here. That's pretty simply what this script will do. Will allow you to go ahead and put in that detection, that remediation, and if you do need to reset Windows Update on a device, which if you've been in systems management for more than 2 months, you've probably had to do that. So thank you, Jurgen, for this solution here. It's great stuff. Jurgen, he's another machine in this community, that's for sure. He doesn't stop.
He does not.
But we love him for it. Last but not least, wanted to talk about this for a minute or two. So saw this announcement a couple of days ago from Lior. We're finally getting some device hardware inventory in Intune, which is fantastic. This is something that we've all wanted for a very long time to come through in Intune. A lot of organizations still using co-management specifically because they can, even if they're managing their devices mostly with Intune, they can still get hardware inventory and deep, rich hardware inventory from ConfigMgr. So this looks like this is going to be the first step to bringing some level of hardware inventory into Intune. Now, I happen to be sitting here reading through this blog post before we hopped on, and a couple of the FAQs here at the bottom that I wanted to point out. So we don't have a specific timeline yet, but they're targeting a release of this calendar year. So hopefully we'll see this within the next 3.5 months. And a couple of other things that I wanted to point out that I thought were notable. At first, this is not going to be able to use for targeting or dynamic device groups. It looks like they are looking into that, as well as hopefully developing that improvement. In addition to that, one thing that stuck out to me was that with this first release, this information will not be available via Graph. If you want to get this information and export it, you'll actually have to go in and export to a CSV file from the UI, like you would in a lot of other reports and views within Intune Admin Center or Entra Admin Center. So wanted to point those things out specifically. Those stuck out to me. Do you have any thoughts on this coming out, Johan?
Well, I mean, I love that they finally do get these additional inventory pieces into Intune. That's been a common request for years and years, and it's intended to bridge the gap a little bit between Intune and ConfigMgr in this area, even though that gap is not closed, even remotely closed just yet. But I'm kind of disappointed that these basic functionality, like connecting to a graph and get the content and actually using it in the platform in the same way we would do collection queries in a ConfigMgr environment, is a little bit disappointing. But heck, I understand that development resources sometimes are not available in the way a program manager may want to have them, but still, all right, let's see what time brings, and I'm excited to try out the new feature at least.
Definitely. Well said. So yeah, that was what I had for today.
All right then. Well, I have 2 things on my mind. Well, 3 actually. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, I did just see a comment from Jesse, and I forgot to mention this. I told you I was going to, and I didn't. He said, in Microsoft fashion, I hope they don't charge for the inventory enhancement. And it was on Twitter that this is part of Intune Plan 1. That was an important point that I meant to mention.
So what you're saying, there is no additional license cost to it, just to be clear.
Correct.
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt.
Heck no worries. It's a good one, of course. Yeah. Now, our friends over at Petri, next week they are running a free virtual mini conference, and it's Victor, that I know since my time with TrueSec, who is presenting a session on basically protect your backups. And that is more important than you might think. I remember still to this day vividly, even though it's only almost a decade ago, one of my first ransomware incidents I was assigned to as an engineer, and meaning go out to the customer, help them rebuild their platforms again. And this customer actually did a bit of homework before, so they had not just one backup systems, they had 2 backup systems, disk-based though. Also, but they also have a tape archive. But so they have 2 servers that control their disk-based backup or disk-based backup. But guess which servers the attackers encrypted first? Oh yeah, the backup servers.
Of course.
And then they started to encrypt everything else. So the problem with that was that the index of the tapes was also on one of those servers. So there was a poor gentleman who had to stand in the cold data center with a hat and a jacket on for almost a week, just shuffling in tape after tape after tape to rebuild the indexes so they can learn what was on the tape in order to restore the right stuff. So I highly recommend to take a look at this session. Victor's a good presenter, and usually surprises you with some facts and tips that you may not know before. So the price is just right too. So next Wednesday, you can watch it before office hours, of course, because it's in the morning, Central Time here, September 18, 9:30. So recommend watching that one. Now, Monday morning, we also published a new version of PowerShell deployment. Very excited about this one. It went up to the branch first, the restart with our development branch here, and then went into the master yesterday morning. So 2 releases in 2 days. Very excited about this one. And I wanted to show some of the changes that we did primarily into the deployment wizard for PSD. For those of you that are new to PSD, it's an extension of MDT that fully gives you Windows 11 platform support in it. We enabled in deployment over 8 DBS, so you can do cloud imaging. We added in peer-to-peer support, so you can leverage branch cache to do peering of content. But long story short, it's a deployment solution that works out of the web server. So you can host that web server in your local data center. You can have it on your laptop if you want, on a Windows 10 box or Windows 11 box, but more commonly you have it up in the cloud somewhere so that you can image devices wherever they are. So Azure, Amazon, whatever you like. So if I jump over to one of my test servers here, I'm going to boot up a virtual machine and boot up from a media here and wait patiently until WinP loads. So we are leveraging background info, sysinternals in the background to update the text while the WinP start to figure out what it needs, do some pre-work check, checking the configuration of the network, making sure you have enough disk and memory and whatnot. To the right, you see a fairly new menu option where you can show your hard drives, you can configure static IP if you want, and you can also wipe hard drives if needed in between the attempts. But this is what the new deployment wizard looks. This one has been mainly developed by Mr. Dick Tracy. He works for Microsoft and he's been helping us with this wizard for a good 2.5 years now, maintaining it and making it better. But this is a truly truly PowerShell driven wizard. So no compiled binaries, no nothing, just PowerShell. A lot of PowerShell. So anywho, go through this one. There is a readiness page. Pick a sequence. Pick a hard drive. This is something that even MDT doesn't have, but we added that in. Give it a name. PC number 15. Pick a device role. And this is something you usually use to assign list of applications or list of settings. In this case, I'm picking a developer station. Intune group, allowing you to add machines into Intune, typically through a web service or just a custom script. And then admin credentials, regional settings, add a quick summary. And like the normal MDT deployment wizard, these wizard panes can be toggled on or off. And then there is a summary screen and off you go. And from now on, it's just a regular MDT sequence. The difference is, if I minimize this one here, behind the scenes, if I look into the folder where we have the stuff, in a normal MDT deployment share, you have like 200 some VBScripts here. Here you find just PowerShell scripts instead. So we basically intercept the calls from the sequence every time the sequence tries to launch a VBScript. We smack it on the fingers and say, nope, use this PowerShell script instead. So that's how it works. So yes, very, very excited to show this or share this information. We've been working on it for quite a while. Hoping that you will try this one out, give us feedback. If you stumble across something, file an issue, we try to get to it. But all in all, quite happy with this one.
Awesome stuff as always.
Thank you, sir. All right. Do we have any questions? That
We
is the
do.
question.
We do. We've got a couple of hellos. Looks like Akos might be sending a Toblerone with you as well, so
Okay, then.
be looking forward to that. um, he also had a question here. If you use one of these cleanup scripts before in place upgrade, like cleanup before Windows 11 upgrade.ps1, what about executing a cleanup script after the process?
Well, I can see the point of using part of it after an upgrade, but in general, when you have run an in-place upgrade of Windows 11, even though it's driven by Intune or by ConfigMgr, there is rarely a need to much of a cleanup after if you already did it beforehand. But for example, if you're using a config manager sequence to drive the upgrade, I can see that, all right, maybe you want to clear out the config manager cache with the content you have been using because it can be quite large, the image, and driver packages can be 4, 5, 6 gigs in size total. And to reclaim that disk space, you can clear it out. See that. I can show the script that he is referring to. Let's see if I put my here. So if I head over to GitHub deployment research files, and I posted it in the config manager folder a while back, but of course it can be used outside of config manager also. But it was this one here. So this script simply has in the beginning of it, it has a section on which component you would like to clean up. And if you don't like to clean up the branch cache because maybe you don't have one, simply flip that one to a false and that will do it. But then each of these sections, for example, if I head down to the native disk cleanup, should be further down here, you can see that it's just a if, meaning if it's true, then it starts to delete what we consider are safe things to delete out of Windows. So this is just a list of actions that the native disk cleanup can configure, and then we loop through them and delete them. And finally, in the end, we make sure to stop any cleanup manager instances before we allow it to continue. So we have a timeout there that it will wait up to 15 minutes for it to finish the work. So, but yeah, I can see the point of doing some of this after the fact, but in general, I haven't had the need to do so.
There's a follow-up question here. What about the windows.old folder?
Well, that one will be deleted anyway when the timer kicks off or whatever time you have configured. It used to be 30 days in the early days of Windows 10, but back in whenever it was 1903, something that time frame, they changed it to 10 days by default. But you guys can change that. If you don't like the default timer, you can configure to something else. That's available as an Intune policy. You can set that in Config Manager. When you do the sequence, it's just a dism command to set it. I believe I had a post on that back in the days also. Let's see. Certain Windows.old here. Yeah. Change the 10-day limit. Just run this. It's part of your sequence. Some point in the Windows phase, obviously. But that will make sure you have it either deleted later or sooner. It makes sense to keep it around for a little while because this is what allows you to roll back if something is not functioning correctly. So deleting on day one might be a little bit harsh or brutal.
I wonder if, in Windows Update for Business policies, this is a little off topic, but in Windows Update for Business Policies, you can actually set the maximum rollback time. I wonder if that actually sets this on the client.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the effect will stay the same.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're referring to this one here. So if I head over to I just click Windows first to get to this list or make it shorter. But let me take a look on some of these.
I think it will actually
that
be
one. So that's in the irregular update ring, is it not?
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, uninstall period. Yeah, this one here.
Putting myself on the hook for some research, aren't I?
Yeah. I would assume it will configure the same things because that's basically what it does.
Yeah.
But I don't think it runs DISM in the background. It's policy somewhere that kicks in.
Yep.
So. Oh, all right. Good comment.
Cool. All right. Noah's got a question about your fantastic Windows 11 built-in apps removal script, and it's been wonderful. However, in upgrading Windows 11 23H2 to the August update, it stopped uninstalling apps due to the file names. Would it work to use wildcards like clipchamp.clipchamp asterisk instead of the full package name? That way, it'll be less likely to run into this issue. By the way, just found this out about 20 minutes ago.
I don't remember if it does. Let's take a look on that script. Not that one. No, that's not this script. He was asking about the app removal script.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, this one here. My bad. Removing this one. So in this particular case, I'm using OS the Builder to remove it off the media. For the online script, this one here. So this is just an array of files, and in the end, you can use get-that-back packages to at least find the name with a wildcard and then feed it into this one. I don't remember if DISM itself will accept a wildcard because I'm using DISM here.
So basically, it would have to be adjusted a little bit to dynamically build the list.
Possibly. The challenge here is I do this in the WinP phase. I do it offline into the image. I don't do it online. I don't really see the need of installing the app and then remove it. I think it's better to tell Windows to just remove it and then never install it.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be tested. To be tested. All right. Anything else?
All right. Noah just had a follow-up comment here. I'll copy and paste from a VM for those names for now, and thank you as well.
Yeah, that will do it. That will do it.
Yep. All right. Matt is asking, have you used the new configuration profile for authentication? If so, any thoughts? I have not.
Where did you see that question?
Don't. Just came in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's it. No, no, I have not. Let's try that one. Sorry. And I haven't read much about it either.
Mm-mm.
But I did confirm that the get-app package PowerShell command will accept wildcard. So that works.
Well, that's good.
So if I go to any given device, let's see what I have here. This is a Windows 10. This is a Windows 11. If I open up a PowerShell prompt, I'm still sharing my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if I do a get that package, whatever it is I'm looking for, and throw in the name, it does accept wildcards. If I do the clipchamp thing, that one did not exist. Let's try communication. I need something that is actually installed. Yeah, then it will find it.
Nice.
And that will give you the full name for it also. So maybe something like that, modify the script to parse that and output it nice to a new list. And then you can feed that list into this list.
And so that package full name is what you were using there for that list.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Excellent.
Anything else? Any other questions we can help you answer? We still have a whopping 27 minutes to our disposal here.
Well, Matt is asking, have we used Apple Business Manager to enroll iOS devices?
I do not work with mobile devices. No, have not.
Think about the most
Mobile
that I
devices as in, phones.
yeah. Think about the most that I've done was a few years back, created a token in Apple Business Manager and connected it in Intune. But even that's been long enough that enrollment for things like iOS and macOS, or Apple devices in general, I should say, has changed a lot over the last few years. I do know that much. So,
Yeah, I was pretty excited though to learn about the new iPhone 16 Monday, was it?
yeah.
New shiny camera, 48 megapixel, can do 4K, 120 frames per second. I can
Yep.
use it to film the horses without losing a stride in their horns. Rumors are that you will still be able to use it to call people with the iPhone.
That's what they're saying. That's what
Yeah,
they're
that
saying.
was yeah.
I
Sometimes it
guess,
feels like the phone is used for anything but calling people.
honestly, I mean, even on top of that, I think I read too that next month in iOS 18.1, the new AI features are coming out. So we'll see. I've been
Yeah,
using
what?
iOS 18 for a month or so now, the beta version of it, and it's,
Yeah.
it's good. There's some cool things in there. I have a couple of friends with Android phones, and now I can actually have rich texting with them, which is good.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. I mean, what can possibly go wrong with AI anyway? So,
Oh yeah, of course.
trying it. Yeah.
uh, did I see? Did you do a Q&A with Recast?
Yes, they did. They did a short interview with me a little while back, and I believe it was published this week, maybe last week.
Yeah.
See if I
You
can find it.
triggered in my brain because I remember there was a AI or Copilot question that you answered.
Might have, yeah.
Where
Oh
is it?
yeah, founded it September 9. So that was Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, this one here. I'll be happy to share the link to it. But yeah,
Awesome.
Mr. Matt, I did the interview. So, and I've been doing these for a while. All these different folks in the community. So I'm happy to be able to join the crowd there.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
Yeah, pretty decent picture too. A few years back, I have to admit. It's in a bar in Redmond.
Did you want to share it? You have
Oh,
your
did
screen
not share
open.
it? Oh, I thought I had it open. My bad. Oh, this one here. This was the interview. Do you happen to know who took this picture?
I don't actually.
David Segura.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
He has a, well, it's not so hidden, but he has been doing photography for his entire life. Professional in that area too, not just OSD and
Yeah.
Cloud OSD and OSD Builder, but he take pictures too. So he took that
Yeah.
one.
Can tell. Great photo.
Thank you, sir. It's funny how things are changing. He was a student on one of our first Geek Weeks, me and Michael Lundström did in Redmond. And now I'm learning from him.
It's amazing, isn't
I
it?
love it. It's great.
Yep.
Stumble across folks.
That's so cool.
Yep. Nice little trivia there. Yep.
It's great stuff. While we were talking about that, Noah had a couple of follow-ups here too.
Mhm.
Just follow up to Matt's question about Apple Business Manager. Said that he has set it up and it works really well. Intune using Intune and Jamf for iPads, so good to know. It seems I kind of feel like, obviously this is just anecdotal, but I kind of feel like over the last year, maybe year and a half, we've been hearing more and more about organizations using Intune with their Apple devices as well. Um,
Yeah,
seems
there
like,
is. I mean, that obviously has been a lot of work done, but
yeah.
there is still a big enough difference in between the two.
Hmm.
There is still a gap, and that has at least one customer I talked to. They still opted in to use Jam for it. But I did see. Let me share this one actually. See where my screen went. Here. I watched this a little while ago, but this is by far the best deep dive review comparing Jam versus Intune. Really good stuff in this session. A long session too, but it's not much biased at all. It just this is how it works. This is how the differences are, and then it's up to you guys to figure out that, all right, do I really need those features that are available in Jamf only, or is it good enough with the stuff that I have in Intune? So even though this one is it's not super old, it's 2 months old, but this great video.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to check that one out. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I can share the link with you
Thank
for
you,
small
sir.
fee, of course.
Uh, of course.
Yeah. All right.
Cup of coffee or an ice cold beverage or
The latter one. Yeah.
sounds good. See a comment here from Brett. I've talked to many who suggest nothing but Jamf if you want to live a normal life.
Now, I heard good things about it too, but still,
Yeah,
it's something that you have to pay extra for.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, I mean, Jamf has been in that space for a very long time. Um, at probably 15 years at least, managing Macs. So, you know, similar to ConfigMgr, right? I mean, we've been using ConfigMgr SMS to manage devices for so long that they've got a lot of experience doing it. They've got a lot of experience staying in front of things with it. But as you said, Johan, it's still an additional cost. So that really causes a lot of folks to take a hard look and determine whether or not for their organization if they need all of the additional features of Jamf.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. If you stumble across a company that a smaller company, that's the only thing they do. It's not surprising they get very, very good at that piece alone, and also their support is often, and this is what I heard about Jamf many times, that their support is just downright fantastic, whereas the Intune support has, as we say, a opportunity for growth. Even though it has been better over the years, it's still like I it can be better.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. I've heard the same. All
All
right.
right.
We've got a question from over here on Twitter. Does the May 2024 release of ADK have VBScript issues? I would like to upgrade my MDT server.
Not necessarily VBScript issues per se. They finally fixed the issue from the previous build, 25398 build, but it has PowerShell issues. So if you're doing a lot of PowerShell in your boot images, you may want to stay away from it. And we've seen other issues related to stability in general. I stumbled across an executable component that just refused to run. And it ran happily in any other WinP release. And I was like, what's this? It's just an exe file. It's supposed to run just fine. So right now, we are recommending folks to stay away from it. So right now, let's see if I can bring up a friendly notepad document. Tip from Andrew and Johan, I'm looping you into this mix, is to use Windows ADK for Windows 11 22H2.
Would you like to share your screen?
Dang it. I need to give you a remote button to share my screen when I'm doing demos. This is what I wanted to show.
There you go.
So that will be 2261. That's the build you want to be on. That right now, this is by far the best build of ADK. The only reason to go up to a 26100 build, if you need to deploy ARM or ARM64 or Windows on ARM, then you must have that version. But what I recommend if you do that, first of all, you need to be on ConfigMgr 2403. It's an absolute requirement. But also, if I jump over to one of those environments here, keep ADK at 22H2 and then add in the version of this for ARM only. I found it much more reliable. So this is just a lab. Doesn't matter if it doesn't work. It only affects me. But for production use, I would not recommend. So there we are.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Noah had a comment as well that for his environment, he had to downgrade back to 22000 and was met with stability again. So,
yeah, I mean, 22,000, it's a very good release of ADK as well. But this version, I like to say 99 out of 100 of our customers are on that build. And it is really, really reliable. I know zero issues with this one at the moment. All right.
Amir's got a question here around sync with Intune, looking for some PowerShell code to mimic what the sync button does in the settings app under accounts, access work at school, or info. That seems to be the most thorough sync there is. In addition, is there a way to detect the sync progress, or at least when it's done via PowerShell locally?
Well, through Graph, yes. Absolutely, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you put up the script, just when they changed the PowerShell module, you made a new version of it.
Yes. I can share that right here.
Yeah, let me. There we go.
All right. So, and we'll share this link, of course. To do that remotely through Graph, here's a PowerShell script that will help you do that, with a couple of examples of how you could filter on multiple devices and trigger those remote syncs across a whole group of devices. Now, separately, while you were talking...
Before you leave that one, this script will also show you when the last sync was run.
Yes,
okay.
Great addition. Thank you.
Yeah.
Separately, Mr. Niehaus wrote a blog post that I'm positive we shared back in March. When does a Windows client sync with Intune? Fantastic blog post that helps answer that question because, of course, there's no just one answer, right? Depends on the scenario, device type, and that sort of thing. But scrolling down here, if we want to do that locally, it looks like he's got a little blurb that you could maybe try out here to try to kick off that sync process.
Yeah, so there was a follow-up question there, and that was to do it completely locally without authenticating to Graph. The ConfigMgr tool would allow you to do that if you run that tool. I like to say there was policy that you can trigger through PowerShell. Wonder if that one is still available. I'd like to say that Oliver Kieselbach wrote about that at some point.
Well, this post from Michael does say this comes from Oliver. This little 3-line.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So this might be it.
Yeah.
I've not tried this myself, but I did yet exactly. But I did also find this Reddit post that suggests this is just a scheduled task that happens, which makes sense. Every 8 hours, your device generally is going to sync. So you may be able to just kick off that scheduled task as well. So untested as we sit here today, I have not tried this, but Amir, if you want to give this a shot, maybe this would be helpful as well.
Yeah, I would put my money on the house in this case, but by all means, try it out and let us know.
Yep.
We will share both solutions.
Absolutely. So, and it looks like in some of the replies here that maybe it wasn't working anymore, and there were some adjustments. So again, we'll share it in a big untested banner from us.
The ViaMonstra disclaimer.
Exactly.
Unsupported. Yeah.
Well, if there's one thing that I've learned, being on office hours with you, and just doing the things that we've been doing over the last few years, at the very least, these things are often very helpful. If they don't solve the problem immediately, they are often great for inspiration, and might help take you down a path that you may not have been considering prior. At least that's been my experience with a lot of these things. So Amir will share these, and hopefully they help. Any idea for local sync status detection?
Yeah, the event log has some information on when the devices are syncing.
Good call. Good call.
You can parse that.
Does it set a registry key when it's done?
No, but it writes an event. I'm pretty sure of it. See if I can find it. You can parse the ConfigMgr data too, but
well, Anoop's got a post that shows the event ID for.
Is it 208?
That's for the server sync is initiated. Yes, 208 is when it's initiated.
Yeah, and 8144 when there is a policy update. Can you do you have it on the screen there?
I am going to have it on the screen. How about that?
Yeah.
208. There we go. So this will give us the server sync initiated. Where's the update one you mentioned? Right here, 814. Received a policy update and successfully applied it. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah, that will do it.
Copy this off here, as well as this script and that Reddit post. All right. There was a follow-up question on the ADK that I don't think we answered directly. Will it work with Windows 11 23H2?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
I deployed 24H2 with it.
Cutting edge.
Yeah. The odd thing is you can still use a Windows 10 ADK and you can deploy the latest Windows 11. It doesn't do any advanced servicing at all. So it just applies the Vim file and reboots, sets the bootloader, and be done with it. So it works just fine.
Awesome. Matt's got a client with a sync issue. The sync issue is always 0x80072EFE. Any idea? Looks like it might be a network issue.
Not from the top of my head, no.
Same. I don't recognize that one explicitly. Well, I found a Reddit post that suggests a couple of things. And both of them are basically URLs being blocked.
Yeah. Proxies, SSL inspection, other fun stuff.
Proxies, your only weakness.
Not the only one. DNS is close second.
So check. Oh my gosh, who? We just talked about it a couple of weeks ago, Johan. Who just wrote the PowerShell script to check a whole bunch of endpoints? Martin.
Heimkin?
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome. Matthias has one also in his Intune debug toolkit.
Yes. So we'll drop those links, Matt. Try to test those things.
Can you bring up Matthias' toolkit or
Yes.
and just scroll down on that page a bit?
I've got Martin's here, and I've got...
It's under solutions, I think. Yeah.
You've been there
it
before.
was on the tools before, yeah. So scroll down a little bit.
Okay.
So these are a little bit more. So those are the ones for autopilot, but the ones they are quite related. Enrollment.
All right. We've got less than 2 minutes, and we have 2 questions.
All right.
First one, a lot of info on Microsoft Graph online, but looking for a good resource for beginners. Is there one you recommend?
Maybe a bit biased on that one, but Andrew and we did a community course on that topic, a free course that I would say is a good starting point. So if you go to courses and then free.
There we go.
It should be, yeah, that one. That's a good start. I mean, we'll be thrilled to have you in one of the longer graph courses that we have in the Academy, but heck, this is a good start.
I would have to agree with that. So we will drop this link as well. And then we had a question. Have you worked with feature updates for upgrading to Windows 11 with Intune? Would you have some examples?
I didn't quite follow that question. The answer is yes, I have done feature updates, but
yeah, a couple of ways to do that. Either you could do that with a feature update policy in Intune, where you have a little bit more control over which version of Windows 11 you're going to. Otherwise, in your update rings, you can go ahead and just allow feature updates to be offered to your devices based on the rules and parameters that you've set in your update ring.
I mean, absolutely yes. Those options are available, but I would never use regular update rings for upgrades. I would use the feature update policies for that, and to make it better, to make it more reliable, you kind of have to. Let's see where I put those. Not there. Where the heck did I put those? Yeah, here. You need to have Intune run remediation scripts that will populate better control for
Share your
those
screen.
things. Probably is a good idea, yeah. So here, if you're doing feature updates for Intune, that there is so little you can control in the UI. So you need to add in additional scripts that will generate config files that will control the behavior of the upgrade. For example, how to deal with rollbacks and failures, and copy log files, and install drivers when drivers are needed, and stuff like that. So add in scripts that deal with this, and you're basically leveraging built-in functionality for the setup engine, which is it's interesting because you can only call batch files. So you will have your batch files, calling PowerShell scripts. So here's a batch file that calls a PowerShell script. So you have to build a little bit of manual logic around it. And by manual, I mean automated scripts, but it's nothing that Intune has in by default. But with a little bit of love, you can make it become not exactly as a sequence, but closer to a sequence than what the native policy has. So that.
All right.
And with that, we're up. Hey.
Yes, sir.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Andrew, thank you for joining as well. And we hope to see you again next week. I'll be in Switzerland. It's going to be close to midnight, but I will do my best to join.
If you're not able to, I'll hold down the fort.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Have a great one, everybody.